Hello guys and welcome back to my channel, and today I have a speed build for you guys. So I didn't really have a vision for this house when I started building it, and I actually don't even know if I like it. So, you know, just do with that information as you will. So this is one of the penthouse lots in San Myshuno. Now, I've actually never noticed this penthouse before, but as I was trying to find an apartment to build this like gardener's sort of apartment, none of them were really working. Like, I feel like I needed like a big outdoor space, and then I saw this and I was like, oh, we'll just give this a go then, because my whole point of doing like a speed build in an apartment is because it takes less time than building a house, and sometimes I just do not have the time to sit down and build an entire house, but I ended up doing that anyway. So it actually didn't take me as long as I thought it would. I think it took me about 2 hours altogether. There was a lot of trial and error going on because I had a vision in my mind where I wanted this sort of modern looking penthouse with like a lot of big windows, like a lot of natural light, and I originally was going to do medium wall height, but I changed it to short wall height just because I couldn't get it to look how I wanted it to look, and I really struggle with like bigger wall heights just because there's so much space on the walls and I feel like the house just looks so empty. So I ended up going with short eventually, so I do actually change all the stuff I'm doing now. There is a lot of going back and forth with this build because I didn't have a set thing in mind of what I was trying to do. Now I just imagine a single person living here who is a gardener. That was my only vision. That was my only thought process with this build in particular. But anyways, I have not been playing Sims much. It's been crazy. I'm gonna actually film some videos today. I've been wanting to play. I've just been so busy, and I just like, Sims is one of those games where you can't just sit down and play for 5 minutes because the game takes half an hour to load. So that's why I just haven't really been playing that much. But I'm hoping to play a little bit today. Now, yeah, so as you can see, I was really trying to go with just so many windows. It doesn't end up having this many windows, but you can see the vision that I was going for. But there just wasn't really the exact window I was looking for, I guess, because those windows on the top floor, like, they're perfect size, but they're a bit boring to look at, I guess. So there was just a lot of back and forth with this build in particular, but I'm pretty sure I like it. But yeah, I also did use the new bathroom kit in this build as well, which you will see later on, and I'm obsessed with that new bathtub. Like, are you kidding me? It is stunning. Anyway, I was gonna try and go with the brick because the actual apartment building is predominantly brick, but I just didn't like how it looked. It's quite funny watching this back now, seeing that like none of this is going to be the same pretty much, but I feel like I should add it all in, just, you know, so you guys can be through this pain with me of trying to make this build work. Now, the lighting on this lot is actually amazing. Like, during the daytime, it is so bright on this lot, because I feel like sometimes with the penthouses, the lighting's a bit weird just because of like where it is, but I feel like this penthouse has amazing lighting. This build reminded me as to why I usually have a plan before I start building, because going back and forth with this build was actually so annoying, because I was just getting frustrated because I kind of had something in my head, but I couldn't figure out what it was. So I feel like when I have a photo of something I want to do, it's so much easier to like figure out what I'm actually trying to do. Because like looking at this now, I can kind of see what I was attempting to do, but it's not working out. It is not working out. But the door I end up using, or the door that's there currently, is the businesses and hobbies door. Now, I'm actually obsessed with that door. I think it is gorgeous. It's such a good size, and it even works on small wall height as well. I think there's just like nothing else like it in the game, and I have been using it a lot. So that is definitely my favorite door. But yeah, this is when I decided that medium wall height just isn't the vibe. So I changed it to short wall height. Now, as you can see, there is a lot of empty space on the lot, but that's because I obviously, since it's like a gardener's home, I just wanted to make sure there was more than enough space for all the stuff in the backyard. And I also just wanted a bit of like a front yard as well. Now, I know you don't really need it because it's not like people are entering your house through the front door, because there's a lift inside the penthouse, but I still thought it was a cute little addition. And I also didn't want the house to be that big because I only imagined like a single person living here and not like a whole family. That being said, I would definitely like to build on this penthouse lot again, because I feel like there's definitely there's definitely a lot of good things you can make up here. I feel like it's such a good size, and as I said, the lighting is so good, so I'd definitely be making something up here again at some point, but maybe I need a little bit of a rest between, because I'm not the best at building, as we know. I actually started this series on my channel so I could get better at building, because I suck at building in this game, and then I lost my save file with all my builds that I'd been working on, so now we're restarting. So I think this is like the second build I've done in my new save, because I lost my other save. So as you can see, I'm adding so many lights, but my biggest pet peeve in a build is when it's not bright inside the house, so I was making sure that wasn't going to be an issue, especially because I do notice in the game, the more windows you add, sometimes the darker the inside of the house gets. I don't know why it does that, it just does. So I knew there was going to be a lot of windows in this build, so I was just trying to stay on top of the lighting issue, because I feel like a lot of times I don't like my builds, it's actually to do with the lighting rather than the actual build itself. Or maybe I'm just saying that to make myself feel better, I don't know. Now, there was a lot of trial and error with the interior of the house, because I was kind of thinking maybe I should do it a lot lighter since the outside of the house is really dark, but I do end up just going with the dark brick and then a lighter floor. It just felt like it went well with the outside of the house. Like, I know that it would have looked really good if it was like really dark outside and then really bright inside, but it just was not looking right. And because I'm going to have so many windows, so you'll see the inside in the darker colors, it just felt like it had to be darker on the inside. Now, instead of doing an actual roof, I did those little like quarter wall heights, but I do actually end up like putting a roof here because I wanted a greenhouse attached to the house. So, there's a lot of trial and error there, because obviously the second floor is there. So, there's a lot of fiddling around with this bit. I kept the roof with like the little tiny half wall, but I just put that one section as like a greenhouse, which also I think helped a lot with the lighting in the house as well. And when you see me put stuff down in this section, you're probably going to think that a lot of it is not usable, and it might not be. I'm more just doing this for decorative purposes. Like, I'm not going to play in this house, so I didn't think it really mattered, and no one's going to want to download this house, so it doesn't matter. So when you see stuff and you're like, how can the sim even use that? They probably can't, so I don't care. But I added a flower arranging table. I obviously added a lot of plant pots inside the house. There will be quite a few on the outside as well, but the ones I do put in the outside, I've just chucked in like random trees and stuff just so that it looks like there's something there. But of course, if you were to actually play and you wanted to plant stuff, you would just have to delete those trees. Then I decided maybe it would look better if the greenhouse was like black rather than white, but I did not like how it looked and I changed it back to white. I just think it was too much dark tones if I did it all black. See, like, I just wasn't sure. There was just something about it I didn't like, so I changed it back to white. The front of the house, it will change from what it looks like right now. Didn't realize I changed it so soon. And then I really wanted to put like vines around the house and stuff like that. Like, I felt like it was just the perfect place to do it, but it doesn't really make sense since you're on the top floor of a penthouse. So just bear with me with that. I just felt excited about it. I did leave some of them on there, but I did delete a little bit of it as well. Now, I'm kind of lucky this house even worked out, because usually the first thing I'll do is I'll make a floor plan with a house like this, and I just didn't do that. I just started placing stuff and hoping for the best. So, kind of a risky way to do it. But it also took me a while to remember that I need to put a lift in or an elevator in. So don't worry, I do remember to put one in, but it's just in a bit of a weird spot because I completely forgot about it. Obviously put a trash can outside. I just realized I did not put a bin on the inside of this house, but that's okay. And then I remember the lift. So it actually, it's kind of the perfect spot for it, I suppose. It just does look a little bit weird, but that's okay. Then I pretty much just spent a lot of time going through everything that is in the game just to see if there's anything specific I might want to use like anywhere in the house, because I hate when I get to like the end of it and then I find stuff that I wish I used. So I was trying to stop that from happening. But I did want to try and clutter up the greenhouse a little bit more, but while still making it usable to an extent. As I said, some of the stuff probably isn't usable, but I wanted the most of it to be usable. So I thought about putting these like garden displays, I guess, up. I do end up getting rid of them. It would just look a little bit too strange, but I just wanted to try and clutter up this space as much as I could. And I think I did all right, but it was a little bit difficult. And then, yeah, so I end up just actually using all those hedges. So I did put one in the left corner, as you can see, but I end up using that all around the greenhouse. Also just for a little bit of extra privacy. Like, I know we're on the top floor, but I don't know. I'm just making things up at this point. Yeah, so I just alt placed a bunch of the hedges around, and I just felt like it was like a nice pop of color for the house as well. I just thought the other stuff I was using was just a little bit too all over the place. I got to the second floor and I do add a little more space to the second floor, just because otherwise there was going to be like zero room up there and there was probably no point in even having a second floor. Sometimes in build mode though, the lighting gets so weird inside the house. So if it looks a little bit weird here and there, it's mostly just because I'm changing the time of day a lot, and sometimes it just messes with the lighting inside the house. So my main dilemma with this build was windows, because I was going for this specific look of obviously having so many open large windows, and it just wasn't really working, especially because I had the greenhouse attached, and since that is quite literally all windows, putting windows anywhere else to the same extent looked weird. So it was a lot of trial and error. I put like a bunch of windows here, and then I end up actually putting a double door to the backyard, so a lot of the stuff I do ends up just getting deleted anyways, but that's all right. And then I tried to use the like window covers from the businesses and hobbies pack, and I did actually quite like how it looked, but I did end up getting rid of that as well. It just was not the full vibe I was going for. Like it's so funny watching this now because there is so much trial and error. I think that's what I struggle with the most about building, is like sometimes I just lose interest because of how much I have to go back and forth until I somewhat like something, and even then I'm probably not like the full big fan of it. Another thing with this build that I probably don't like the most is that obviously it doesn't match the actual building itself. So I think the next time I try and build on this lot, I'm going to try and match it more to the actual building, because I kind of just did whatever I wanted, which is obviously fine, but I think it would be like a fun challenge to make it look more like the actual building itself. For some reason I really wanted this plant on like a little elevated surface for when you walk into the house, just because there was so much open space on this first floor that I kind of wanted to break it up a little bit, but I obviously didn't really have enough space for a whole room. So there's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of moving things around. For a while, it took me a minute to realize that I actually dropped the whole floor down, and I just did not notice. I do notice eventually and I fix it, but I'm like, why can't I place a platform trim around the little platform? And it's because the whole house was on a platform for a moment, but we fixed it. So yeah, I just put on a little platform there. I just thought it was cute. I don't know. There's not really much explanation for that bit. And I also did add a bike inside, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. You could take your bike down the lift, but it's a little random. Then I added a little bookcase in the corner there, just because it was a little bit of a random corner. And then of course I added a desk just next to it, because why not? You know what I mean? I feel like there's such pretty lighting there too. And then I finally did mess around with alt placing a little bit in this build, because as I've said before, I just don't even bother trying. But once I've learned how to do it, I've been doing it a little bit, and I did use it quite a bit in this build, and I was proud of myself. Then I just put a nice green carpet there, and then I moved on to the back area of the house, which is actually quite a small kitchen. Now, I do actually quite like how this kitchen came out. And then yeah, this is the door I used to get out to the exterior, because I love that door and it was like the perfect size. So of course I had to use it. Now, again, this is the kitchen. So I was trying to figure out what archway to use. I wanted to use a circular one, but it just wasn't working. Now it's honestly a tiny kitchen. I'm like 95% sure it's usable, but it's very small. But I kind of like that, because I usually struggle with kitchens a lot, especially when they're so big, because it's like, what do you even put in there? So this is very much the bare minimum. There's one working countertop, so I'm assuming you should be able to cook in this kitchen, because I only have the 2 countertops and that's it, because obviously one of them's a sink, so I actually have 1 countertop, but I'm pretty sure you only need 1 countertop to cook. Then I just upsized those plant pictures, and then I just put another painting on the other side of the window. I actually quite like how this room turned out. I think I like it so much because it's so minimal, because sometimes I think I tend to overdo it and then not like it very much. It was honestly probably one of the easiest kitchens I've ever built, which I love. Now moving on, I just added a little mirror here, and then just some more plants. A little bit random, but I don't know, I just felt like the right place to put it. I think what made this build a little bit easier too is because it's like a gardener's penthouse. You can just chuck a plant anywhere, you know, and it's not weird because they're a gardener. Then I did just add some seating there as well, just because there's not like any seating on the first floor otherwise. And then I wanted to use some fairy lights, but I ended up just using those ones over the top, because trying to connect it across the lift made it a little bit difficult to do that. Then we have moved on to the second floor. Now the second floor is going to have a bathroom and a bedroom, obviously with a little bit of trial and error because there was not much space to work with, especially when it was like such a thin hallway. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do anything with this. There is quite a big bathroom in this build. I did do a review of the new bathroom kit, and I'm not one to like kits, but I really, really like that kit. Now this bathroom's a little random, to be honest. I actually don't like it that much, but I just got excited about all the new stuff. Like that bathtub, I love. Absolutely love it. And the tiles that come with it too, I'm just obsessed with. I have heard some people say they think it's weird to have tile on the wall and on the floor, but I don't think that's weird at all. I have done it as 2 different colors just to kind of break it up a little bit, but I don't think that's weird at all. I think it would have looked good all the same color as well. Now I was looking for like the divider wall, like the shower divider wall, and I could not find it. So I gave up on that dream really quickly, but that's why I was scrolling through the decoration part for so long. Do you guys know where that is, the shower wall? Please let me know, because I have no idea where it is otherwise. But I also added in the new sink and the new toilet and the new shower. Okay, I didn't realize I used every single new appliance, but there we go. I also added a little hamper. Now, I don't have laundry day and that hamper isn't actually usable, but I thought it was cute. I was trying to find like plant or garden sort of artwork, and I was really struggling to find some, so I just added in some random artwork. That's what I mean with this bathroom. It just doesn't really fit with the rest of the house, but it's fine, whatever. And then I just added in some small windows as well, and of course a plant. Then we moved on to the main bedroom. Now there was a good amount of space for this bedroom, and of course I used the businesses and hobbies bed because I am obsessed with that bed. I use it in every build. I just think it is so perfect. I hate beds in The Sims. A lot of them are really ugly, but this one I love. Now, I do end up making sort of a little patio outside on the second floor to put the yoga mat on, just because I didn't know if it would be usable sitting there, and also it's in a little bit of a weird spot. But again, added more plants. What's new? Added a cute little dresser. I was just really trying to use this space, just put as much plants as possible. It was kind of my thought process. Now the windows again are my enemy in this moment, so a lot of back and forth with the windows. I actually end up using a businesses and hobbies window eventually. Let me tell you, I've been using this pack a lot. That made me panic. When I went to go save it, it was like, you cannot save it at this time, but it's because I needed to add a letterbox. But my heart dropped because I had not saved it once before that point. So I panicked hard. Okay, then this is me a couple hours later coming back to finish off the build because I just needed to look at it with some fresh eyes. So as I said, I went with the businesses and hobbies windows. Now, it was kind of bold of me to go with so many different like types of windows from different packs and stuff like that, because I usually hate windows. I've said this before that I usually use way too many different types and then I just don't like it. But I think it works well with this build. I do. But you could obviously have like a couple living here. Like there is enough space for 2 people. I just imagined like 1 person living here. And I also did add, what do you call it? I added that skill building item, but I don't know what it's called, like a hedge thing. I don't know what it's called. But of course we added cute little carpet. I don't end up going with that one. That one I actually think works really well. Like it kind of doesn't match the color scheme at all, but it's such a cute carpet that I just used it anyway. Again, I kind of had to make a sort of gallery wall. I was trying to go for more garden or, you know, flower themed, but I couldn't really find much. But I did just end up putting like the 4 different swatches of this painting from Parenthood on there. At least I'm pretty sure it's from Parenthood, but I actually do like how it turned out anyway. Then I wanted to add a fish tank. That was not gonna fit, so we had to give up on that dream. But I thought a nice chest table there would be good, just to have a couple more skill building options. Obviously this is like mainly based around gardening, but I thought it would be nice to have something. Ow, something just bit me. But I thought it would be nice to have like something else you can work on other than just gardening. Then I added these just to switch up the color of the room a little bit, just because it was getting super repetitive otherwise. Hold on, my dog's just got himself stuck. You good, buddy? Back to the exterior. So I ended up actually downsizing and putting some hedges around the front section of the second story, which I actually really, really like. I did not think about doing that, but it felt like I needed something. Now let's talk about this tree. I can't actually remember if I end up keeping it there or not. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but it was just kind of goofy and funny, so I did it anyway. There's like a 10-minute like pause in this because I decided to have some ice cream, so we're just gonna ignore this bit. Okay, now we are back after my ice cream break. So again, I kept the roof the same, just did the really short half wall. I actually like doing those like small half wall roofs a lot because doing actual roofing is really stressful for me. So I'm just trying to find every way to not have to do that. And now do not worry, we do go through like sort of a final walkthrough of the house so you can see everything without it being so quick. But then I moved on to the backyard. Now it's kind of random, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of crazy. I don't know why we've stopped again. And then my boyfriend came in and then he gave me some of his chocolate ice cream, so then I paused to have the chocolate ice cream and now we're back. So as I said, yeah, look at the lighting on this lot during the morning. Is that not so gorgeous? That's why I also wanted to use so many like green, like so much green, because it just looks so good when the sun is out. Now I obviously wanted to have some sort of like outdoor cooking area just because with this much space it would be so sad to not do that. So of course I added in sort of like outdoor living area. Then I added a lot of plant pots and stuff like that. As you can see, I did just chuck in like actual trees and flowers just so you can see what it would look like when you have a blooming sort of plant patch. And obviously I put them in the flower patch stuff because you're on the penthouse floor. So this obviously wouldn't make sense in real life, right? Like you're not growing trees on a penthouse. But it's The Sims, so we can do whatever we want. But yeah, so I just added 2 rows of those plant pots. I filled them in with just random stuff. I put out some more outdoor furniture. Just because with this beautiful view, who wouldn't be sitting outside like all the time? I don't know why I went with this like black and white theme. I guess probably because the exterior of the house is pretty much black and white. But there is quite a lot of color in this house too. It's not just like some modern looking house, I suppose. And then I did put a wedding arch here just because I liked the like flowers over it. So then I just put a little chair in between it, and I did use those little mushroom stools from Cottage Living, which are gorgeous. I've never used them before, so I thought now would be the perfect time. And then we moved to the front of the house. Now again, I did put another like flower patch thing in, and then I just put the tree on that flower patch, which you will see in a minute. Damn, that save took a while. The game was not happy with me. But yeah, I just love that tree. I think this tree is from Businesses and Hobbies as well. I just thought the little fairy lights on it was so cute. And now I wasn't actually going to do this. I was just going to leave this plain as it was, but I did end up actually putting flowers on the roof of the house because why not? Again, I do end up getting rid of the tree. That's right. I do end up removing that tree just because it is so random, but I think the flowers on the top are cute. So yeah, I put the tree back where it was in the first place. I actually don't think I like that. If I was to go back, I would probably get rid of it, but I do also end up putting a hot tub in because there was just so much extra space out here, and I felt like any more plant pots would probably be a little bit of overkill since we literally have all the backyard and a greenhouse. So I felt like we probably didn't need more stuff out the front. And then I just imagined that sign being like the name of the building. Anyway, now we are here for the final walkthrough after a bit of messing around because trying to get the camera at the right angle was impossible when you're this high up. But this is what you walk into when you first walk in. You've got obviously the plant, and then you go around to we're moving really quick. We have the greenhouse, we have the first floor, and then this is us going into the kitchen, and it has a really cute art wall. Now we're on the second floor bathroom, which is cute. The bedroom, which I love, with a little chest table. And then obviously this is the beautiful view, and then we go out and we have a little yoga mat area. Then this is the backyard and the front yard. Wow, I was not expecting it to go that quickly by the end. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like the build. I'm kind of 50-50 on it, but I don't mind it. I've made things that are worse than this, so a win is a win. But I'll see you guys in a couple days. Bye!